Pronounce your last name, man.
Bakhtiar.
Bakhtiar. Okay. All right, we are up and live on Facebook and YouTube, guys. We are getting ready. I have Sam Bakhtiar, my guest on the What Are You Made Of podcast. We're getting ready to start a recording on Zoom, so hang tight 1 second and we'll get you started. There we go. All right, guys, welcome to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy Mike C-Roc. It is June 3rd, Wednesday. We're back again, bringing you great guests, great content, and first of all, before we get started, I want to thank you for joining us. I want to show gratitude for the support of the What Are You Made Of movement and Waymo and what it's all about, turning setbacks into rocket fuel for your future. You can't get to where you're going without hitting some kind of setback at sometimes. And we need to understand of turning that into fuel, learning from it, training from it, and moving on and never quitting. And that's what Waymo is all about. Appreciate all of you guys being with us. And my guest today, I'm going to let him introduce himself. Sam Bakhtiar. Here's the thing. First and foremost, I bring guests on here. I've only started this since November, and I've really went hard to go after the big guns first, man. And, I'm not scared to do that. And, I've had some great guests that people don't know, but this is a guy that a lot of people know. And I've been on Instagram for a while, following him, watching his stuff. And, he also hosts a podcast, the 1%er podcast. It's exciting to have people like you on here, Sam, because you're an inspiration to myself and a lot of people. So welcome to the show. And we always start off by saying, what are you made of?
I'm just resilient. I'm made of resilience and perseverance, man. And first of all, man, I want to first thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an honor and privilege. Thank you so much for putting all this great information out there for everyone, especially during these hard times, during this COVID and all these protests that's going on right now. I truly, truly appreciate what you're doing and give it back to the world.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do by yourself, but it's an even better thing to do with people like you and all of us together, trying to get good out into the world, lift people up, encourage people, love people. Look, man, that's what it's all about. And, the thing is that too many people right now are playing the blame game. And I'm a big guy of 100% responsibility, man, because here's the thing. When you blame other people, you give them control and you become a prisoner. And a lot of people don't understand that, right? So, you've come from Iran, man. And, a lot of us have no idea what it's like to live in a crazy situation. So let's start off by that. Talking about what are you made of? Can you speak to that, where you came from, share with my audience, what you've been through and then how you got to the United States?
Man, so I was born in Iran. And I was born to a middle-class mom and dad. And Iran is in the Middle East. And if you guys know, Iran, they're always in the conflict. There's always something going on in the Middle East, right? And so when I was 3 years old, Iran went to war with Iraq and Saddam Hussein. And there's also one other thing that happened. My parents split when I was 3 years old. So not only the war started, my parents split. I never saw my dad after that again. And that's why, I became a top dad, because I didn't have a dad. I didn't want to be that dad that wasn't there for my kids. And so every night, Mike, we were getting bombed on. Every night, there were sirens, blackout of the city, planes flying over. All you saw was planes flying, dropping bombs, and there was anti-air missiles shooting at the planes. So it was just the way of life back then, and growing up, you didn't know any better. You thought, okay, well, I guess war is all the time. This is what we do, but not till later on, I found out that, wow, man, that had a lot of hidden effect on me later on in life, not having a dad and, being in a war and stuff. But when I was a kid, I'm like, okay, this is another day, it's going to be fireworks and there's people going to be dropping bombs, people are going to get killed. And that's what it is. You become numb to it.
Off your phone, please. I was just thinking about like what that would be like, man, waking up or at nighttime. A lot of times I'm sure it happened at nighttime when you're already going to bed and, I guess you become accustomed to it, man. Because when you're 3 and it starts from there, you don't really know any different, right?
You don't know any different. You know, whatever you're born into is that's what you see as customary. You know, because you don't know the different world. You don't know a different way. You know, that's why environment is so important in your upbringing and your psyche and your future. That's why they tell you you are who you hang around with. You know, who you are, you make the average of 5 people, your income is the average of 5 people around. It's so important, you know, whether it's a country, whether it's people, you know, it's hard to do the right thing in a wrong environment.
Now, how old were you when you came to the United States?
I was 11.
And how did that all go down? Like, are you just allowed to leave Iran whenever you want, or how does that work there?
No, oh no, Iran and United States, they never had a good diplomatic relationship. You know, back then, you remember Iran took like 444 American hostages. You know, so they were recruiting, kids as young as 13-year-olds to go to military. And my mom didn't want me to go to military. I was an only son. She said we got to get the hell out of Dodge. You know, so we moved to France as refugees of war. And then we applied to the United States and then got accepted to come to the United States as refugees of war. I came to the United States when I was 11 years old in 1985. Your mic muted. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I don't know what's wrong with this thing. I heard somewhere you said you were from Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. So it's funny because when I was coming to the United States, I was thinking I was going to Beverly Hills. I was going to all these rich areas because that's what I saw on TV.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, everybody talked up America. Everybody said America is the best country in the world. And so I thought I was going on paradise. I was going to Beverly Hills, or I was going to Rodeo Drive, or that's what I thought all America was. You know, they never showed the slums. They just showed the best parts. They would show like Dallas Dynasty in the 18. That was back in the the 80s, right? It was like kind of like the Kardashians of today. And when I came to America, we had one relative, which was my uncle, my mom's brother. He picked us up from the Pittsburgh airport and drove us to a little town in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, called Sharon. And Sharon, to this day, is a slum. It's an old steel mill town where all the steel mills closed down. There's abandoned buildings, brick roads. And, my uncle did what most Middle Easterns do when they come to this country. And as an entrepreneur, they open up a convenience store in the hood because they don't have money to get in a good area. So you have a, convenience store in the hood. And when I mean the hood, I mean, to this day, Mike, I haven't seen a worse neighborhood than that. And I've been to Compton, I've been to Watts, I've been Queens, I've been everywhere. I mean, it's crazy. People say, oh, well, Compton is kind of crazy. Because no, it's not. Compton has palm trees. There's like, brick roads, abandoned buildings. And outside of my uncle's store, there was pimps, prostitutes, drug dealers, and murderers. Literally.
Yeah.
There was a sign on the street. I've never seen to this day, Mike. I have not seen another sign in my life anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world that says no loitering, section code, this, and that. I'm like, wait a minute, you can't hang out on the street? They don't want you to hang out on the street because that's how bad it was.
Yeah. I grew up in PA myself too until high school. So I was on the other side though, outside of Philly. So yeah, there's some rough spots in Pennsylvania that, even outside of Pittsburgh and outside of Philly that nobody hears about, and the weather's not the greatest. Like you said, they have palm trees in California, at least, And
the worst part, Mike, is like, say, New York, or let's just say, LA, the worst parts of it. You drive 20, 30 minutes, you go see the best parts. You can be in Compton, you can be in Beverly Hills in 30 minutes or 20 minutes, or you can go to Long Beach 15 minutes. So you can see the possibilities. Where am I going to see the possibilities? In Sharon, there's no possibilities. There's nothing. I'm like, oh, this is it. This is it.
Yeah. So how the hell did you get out of there? Well, first of all, you got out of Iran. Your mom, I'm sure, was the responsible party for that, right? And so you got to look up to her and talk about resilience and talk about her strength.
Single mom.
Yeah, I mean, that's how many kids were there?
Just me and her.
Yeah, just the two of you. Yeah, and so then for getting out of Sharon, though, tell the story about that. Like come on, man. Let's fire these people up, man. Because there's a lot of people in situations right now that feel hopeless.
So I was in Sharon, and when I got to Sharon, I didn't speak the language. I came to school with my clothes were different. I still got, there was black people, there was white people, there was sand. When I walked into the high school, it was like Michael Jackson's Beat It video. There was black people on this side, there was white people on this side. They're looking at me, they're like, what the fuck are you? They're like, what the fuck are you? I was like, you're not black, you're not white, you're not wearing an LL Cool J jacket, you're not wearing a Metallica jacket. What the fuck you listen to? So I remember being discriminated, beat up, bullied, and I just wanted to belong. I was 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. I was like, I want to belong. So I said, I want to go play football. So I asked guys, I want to play football. They're like, football. And I'm like, this fucking country is weird because this is the foot and this is the ball. Yeah. This is rugby they're talking about. They're like, no, that's called soccer. And we don't have a soccer team. So now I'm devastated. I'm just devastated. I'm going like, what am I going to do now? Nobody likes me. I don't have friends. I don't speak the language. People make fun of me. They're bullying me, So I tried out for the basketball team. I didn't know nothing about baseball or football. So I'm like, let me just play basketball. Dude, there's 23 people who tried out for the basketball team. 22 made it. And the only person that didn't make the basketball team was me. The only person. I cried home. I walked all the way home 2 miles in the snow. Told my mom I got cut from the basketball team. I hate America. I don't like to be in this country anymore. I want to go back. Mom said that's not the case. So mom said, here's one thing that my mom always taught me. My mom said, you can do whatever you want and be whatever you want as long as you're willing to pay the price. So she said, why don't you go to, if you want to play basketball, why don't you go to Boys Club after school, play basketball, and I pick you up after work. So you have 2 hours of practice every day and try out next year. So as I went there to play basketball, after a couple of months, I saw these guys walking in from this room upstairs. They're all jacked up, they're all big, and they're like, and back then I was watching the Rocky movie, the Terminator movie, and I was like, oh my God, I want to look like that. I want to look like that. So I started going upstairs, little scrawny, awkward kid, worst genetics in the world. I started lifting weights, and I'm like, the next day I thought I was going to die. Everything hurt. I put so much Bengay on my body, on my body, but after a few weeks, I started liking it. I started getting stronger, and I saw that, wait a second, I couldn't do the bar before. Now I could do the bar. Well, wait a second, I couldn't do 10 before. Now I can do 10s. And that started giving me self-esteem. I started, getting stronger, and I started learning to overcome weights, which is exactly like adversity, right? Weightlifting is a lot like life, because no matter how, no matter where you're in life, there's a bigger obstacle ahead of you. I thought when I become a millionaire, there's no obstacles. It's not more money, more problems. It's more money, bigger problems.
Yep.
Different type of problems.
Yep.
I no longer worry about, if I can pay my mortgage or pay my rent. I no longer worry about that, but I have other things that I worry about, other things that I got to overcome. So if you think that you're going to go and get somewhere in life and not have any problems, let me tell you something. In life, you're either in a problem, left a problem, or headed towards one.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
well, let me ask you this though. So when you get money, I've noticed this as my affluence has increased. It's more of the concern of, man, how can I keep it? Like, I don't want to go back there, dude. Like, I've been there. Like, I've been broke. I've been like scrimping and scraping, and dude, I don't ever want that feeling again. So then you start getting this weird feeling of like, dude, I got to make sure I keep this flow coming. Am I right or not? That's the problem.
Mike, it's so funny you say that. Right before I came on your podcast and your show, I just did a video about that. And let me tell you, I used to know more people that were rich than they are rich today. It's easy to get rich. It's hard to stay rich. For you to be able to stay rich, and for anyone listening to this that aren't rich yet, look, if you just put a plan together, execute the plan, and go all in on whatever it is you're going to do, and be consistent at it, and not lose hope when you fail once, twice, or 100 times, you will eventually hit it. You're going to get rich because all you have to do is swing the bat. See, I don't know much about baseball, but I know in baseball, there's 3 strikes and you're out. In life, you get unlimited swing. As long as you're swinging, you're going to hit one out the park, and I guarantee you that. Now, what can you do to keep it? So with that, you have to learn to have a good relationship with money. See, when I was broke, for me, making money was all about, okay, I want to make money so I can buy something, so I can buy the Ferrari, so I can buy the mansion, so I can buy the G-Wagon, so I can, buy the expensive watch. Bro, I have $500,000 worth of watches in my house right now. Guess what I wear every day? This. Come get me. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, all that shit doesn't matter because I didn't have a good relationship with money. I'm looking back, I'm like, what the fuck did I buy this? I got 10 different high-end Rolexes and Hublots and APs. I don't need all that shit, right? I have 9 cars. I'm down to 9 cars now. I'm like, I only drive 1 or 2. So I didn't, so looking back, you need to have a good relationship with your money. You have to learn delay gratification. And you gotta learn money, see how the money works, and put yourself around people who have real generational wealth.
But what's the relationship with money? Now, I've been studying this a lot. I don't know if you know Richie Dolan. I've been spending a lot of time with Richie Dolan, and he's a awesome coach and mentor when it comes to your relationship with money and finances. But what do you mean by that? Just explain that to the audience, your relationship with money.
So some people get money and it's like burns in their pocket. It's like they cannot stand having the money in their pocket. Well, as soon as they get the money, what should I go get? What should I go buy? What should I do? Who should I impress? That used to be me. I had a horrible relationship with money. You know what I mean? And for me, I couldn't stand money just being left in my pocket. I had to trade the money in for something that would give me instant gratification.
Yeah.
But once I learned that, look, I'm a pretty simple guy. All I want right now in life, and what everybody should want out of life, is not more clothes or more cars or more watches or more this, is peace of mind. Right now we're at COVID. We're in the middle of COVID-19. All my gyms are shut down. Everything is this and that. I have no income coming. Guess what? I'm not sweating it. I'm good. I'm good for the rest of my life. But in 2008, I wasn't.
Yeah.
When 2008 recession hit, dude, I was getting foreclosure notices on my house. Credit card companies were calling me. Creditors were calling me, and I was a mess. And I told myself, if I ever get out of that, I will never ever make the same mistake again. And it was a matter of when. It's not if, it's when. And it happened again, and I'm like, I'm so glad I learned the first time.
And what was it that you learned? What did you do differently this time? Or really, I know the answer. So let me say it this way. What did you do leading up to it all the time prior from 2008? Because that's the difference, I'm sure, is not just right here when this happened, right? It's the preparation.
I've learned to live off of a fraction of my income and then invest the rest, save the rest. And I also learned to save automatically. Back in the day, I used to try to save, right? You say, okay, I'm gonna save $1,000 a month. I'm gonna save $100 a month. Whatever that number is, doesn't really matter. It could be $1 million a month. It could be $100 a month. But I said, I'm gonna do this 100 a month. And every time something happens, oh well, you know what? I have a little emergency. Maybe I can use it a little bit to do this. Next thing you know, you spend all the money and you have no savings. That vicious cycle. So I've learned now, as soon as I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna dedicate X amount of money to go to this account. And I don't even know the username and password in that account.
Yes.
Automatically hits my account. I can't stop it. I don't know the username and password. I don't have that money. It's not considered my income. It just goes somewhere. And I'm like, wow, that power of just being consistent. And that goes in anything, like whether you want to get in shape, whether you want to save money, whether you want to, own a business, is the consistency that compounds to huge results over time.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we call it staying broke. We push the money into something else, and we call it the box. We put it in the box and forget about it. And
it's funny. It's funny. Mike, last night, my wife is like, "Do you want to eat? Do you want to eat something at home, or do you want to order some food? Order some food from outside?" I'm like, "I want to stay home. I want to stay home and eat." She's like, "Really?" She's like, "I'm like, I can't afford it." I told her, I said, I like to eat dirt, bro. I like to eat dirt. Yeah. I like to remind myself when I was poor. Yeah. I like to be there, bro. I have 300 pairs of shoes. The ones I'm wearing is the same ones I've been wearing for the past 2 months.
Yeah.
Same ones every day. I like to remind myself what it was back in the day. You know what I mean? So, you got to learn to be happy and be minimalistic and be able to be happy. Because listen, let me tell you something. Listen to me. If you ain't happy with $10, you ain't gonna be happy with $10 million.
I gotta, yeah, no, that's 100%. I'm sure you got kids, right? Because you got top dad, right? I got kids right now. They're home with COVID. They leave the door open. We have a puppy. They just leave the door open. I got flies in here driving me batty. I'll tell you what, during COVID, man, it's hard to stay straight and keep the kids in line, keep them on and do the business. So you know what, to me, this is like a great thing. This has happened for us to get uncomfortable and get out of our norm, because sometimes you're like, how am I supposed to do my work, podcasting, keep things quiet, and deal with the kids too? And you know what? Coming out of this, I think a lot of people are going to be a lot stronger, more productive, and appreciate the way things were before coming out of this. And now we have the situation in the United States with, riots and police brutality and things like that. Let's pivot to this for a second. One thing that I want to get across to people is the 100% responsibility situation, right? Because whether you're a Black American, a white American, from the Middle East, whatever you are, something's bad happened to you before, and people have done things to your people before in some way or shape or form, different levels. But the problem is that you cannot get over it unless you can forgive. That's where the power is. And nobody understands that. And they still haven't wrapped their head around it. And then you got to be careful saying this stuff, because people will say, well, you don't understand what it's like to be so-and-so. That's not what I'm trying to say, right?
Mike, let me tell you something. First of all, I don't give a fuck what people want to say. Welcome to backlash. I'm gonna say, I came to America for freedom of speech and for be able to, be able to say what's on my mind. And I'm going to say it the way I see it. I'm not going to sugarcoat for anything for anybody. It is what it is. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And so let me just get right into it. What happened to George Floyd is a travesty. What happened to him should have never been done, and the cop who killed him should be charged with a third. For whatever first, second. I don't even know the difference. With murder. I don't know what first is. I don't know what second is. I don't know what it is, but he should get whatever the maximum allowable, prosecuted by law. 100% agree, done. I 100% agree with a protest. I would go protest with them if it was peaceful. I'm 100%. Everybody should be given a fair chance. And nobody should be treated like that. That was travesty. However, I don't condone going out and breaking into businesses, setting the kids on fire, and in every race, in every color, in every religion, in every ethnicity, there are good people and there are bad people. Look, I'm from Iran. I came to America after the hostage situation where Iran took 444 hostages and they did all the terrorizing and all that kind of bullshit they did. When I came to Iran, from Iran, people call me camel jockey. People call me a terrorist. People call me a sand nigger. It is what it is. I got discriminated not only by white people. I got called names by the Black people, by the yellow people, by everybody, right? And so I sit here in front of you and tell you that every race, everybody at some point in one way or another, whether you like it or not, do discriminate in one way or another. Okay? Look, if you're white, blonde with blue eyes, walk through Compton or walk through Watts, you don't think you're gonna get discriminated against? You're gonna get discriminated just like if you're Black, rolling in a 6'4" Impala in Beverly Hills. It's no difference. We all do it. Now, how can we get along and understand that everybody is different and everybody needs to be judged individually? Everybody needs to be judged by their actions and what they do individually. Just because I'm Middle Eastern, I'm not a terrorist. Just because you're Black, you're not a thug. Just because you're a Mexican, you're not a gangster or cholo. We all got to understand that there's good and bad in every single thing, and there's some bad apples that make us all look bad.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so that
here's what a lot of people don't talk about. All right. There's something going on our brains, right? There's a reactive mind and an analytical mind. And the problem that people have is it goes back to survival. Okay. It goes back to survival. When things happen and people see something on TV or they experience it, their mind takes it in. And then the front part of their brain starts the reactive mode. And when they see something that seems like a threat to them based on experience or seeing something data that was fed into their brain, that's the first reaction. Now, it's what you do after that matters, because you cannot help your reaction. Like if a reaction happens to you, it's like, okay, I'm reacting. Now, what do I do? Do I say something I shouldn't say? Do I do something I shouldn't do? Or should I take and start analyzing what's really going on here? And that's where it all starts. Prejudice, prejudgment, it all a reactionary action from your or something from your brain that happens. And then from there, it's what you do after that. So I'm a big believer in encouraging love and lifting people up, man. And also 100% responsibility. We all need as people to take responsibility and start for ourselves and those around us and our family and treating people the right way and teaching people how to treat people the right way and lifting people up and encouraging people and stop blaming others, no matter what the deal is. And that's where I think that the power comes from. You gain the power back when you take responsibility, right?
100% agree with that, man. In life, man, you're responsible to everything that happens to you. Bottom line, and you can come out and say you're not, but you're still responsible of how you react to it.
Yep. So now, how did you get into the business that you're in? Tell me that part of it.
Well, bro, like when I got cut from the basketball team, I will tell you, I found weightlifting.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with weightlifting.
Oh, by the way, I lift too a little bit.
I see that,
I get
man.
in there.
I see you.
I get in there.
I see you. And for me, once I started getting some results from weightlifting, I fell in love with not only what it did for me on the outside, but also what it did for me on the inside. And you're from Philly, man. You're from Philly, that area, man. That's all they do, man. They work, and they go lift, and they go to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I fell in love with transformation of my body, which led to I fell in love with transforming in all areas of my life. Because I knew that for me, it was I want to transform my body, I want to transform my mind, I want to transform myself emotionally, intellectually, educationally. So once I did that, I went all in to try to better myself all the time. I'm that guy who's just not happy staying the same. I'm just that guy that I will go into a depression if a week goes by and I feel like I'm not getting better. Like I can't stay the same, and I'm kind of a freak like that. I just can't go around being in circles and you get up and oh my God, my body looks the same, my bank account looks the same, my relationship looks the same. I'm that guy who wants to improve and improve and improve. I'm blessed, but I'm not satisfied. I want more out of life, and I could go back to my 1-bedroom apartment, 400 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment, that being this huge mansion and stay the same. I'd rather be in my 1-bedroom apartment.
Right. Now, how did that transform into a business?
So when I fell in love with it, my mom said, Sam, I want you to, when you grow up, you got to be a doctor, because the only way for you to be successful, be a doctor. She was old school and all that kind of stuff. And when I fell in love with weightlifting, I was like, God, I want to do this the rest of my life. I want to transform myself. I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to help people transform them, because it changed my life. It changed my perspective. It showed me patience, perseverance. It showed me work ethic. It showed me overcoming obstacles. It's okay if I can't do something today. I'll come back tomorrow and I'll try to do it tomorrow. If it's okay if tomorrow I can't do it, I come back. That's what weightlifting taught me, And so when I researched what doctor has to do with muscles, bones, because I didn't want to do surgery. I didn't want to drill somebody's teeth, but I had to become a doctor. My mom said, become a doctor. So I researched, and I was at that time, chiropractor was a doctorate program who had to do with muscles, bones, nutrition, anatomy and physiology. I'm like, I'm all in. So I applied to chiropractic school. I went to Penn State University, got my pre-med and nutrition degree. That's right next to you. Mm-hmm. And then I moved to Los Angeles College of Chiropractic, got my doctorate degree. But while I was doing that whole thing, I was doing personal training, you know, at independently and at a big box gym. When I was done with it, I wanted to open up my own gym. I borrowed 20 grand from my mom, and I opened up my first gym here, not too far from here, maybe 10 miles from here, in Chino, California, in February 15th of 2000.
Where are you now, by the way, Cali?
I'm in Chino Hills, California.
Chino Hills,
Yep.
yeah.
So I opened up my first gym. So everybody's like, "Oh man, Sam, man, he blew up. He blew up, man. He just came up, bro." It's been 20 years. My blow up has been 20 years. It's not like it's not 1, 2, 3 years. You just see me in this chapter of my life, but you didn't see all the craziness that I went through, all the business failures, all the bankruptcies, foreclosures, the ulcers, the panic attacks, and all the stuff that I went through to get to where I want. Everybody said, "Oh man, he's the guy who has the Ferrari, the guy who has a perfect life." You don't know. No.
Been there,
it wasn't perfect. No, and even to this day, I still work and I still grind and still this and that. So, people walk in on your chapter 20 of your life and they think they know me. They haven't read chapter 1 through 19 yet.
The journey is invisible. I say it all the time, man. The journey is invisible. So before I ask you the last question, I appreciate you coming on here, man. How can my audience engage with you, and anything that you want to plug or what have you, go for it, man.
Sure, man. If you want to, check me out on social media, it's Sam Bakhtiar. All my handles are the same. Sam Bakhtiar, spelled Bakhtiar, or you can text me directly, 909-200-4015.
Gotcha. Awesome, man. And so my last question, I like to ask this question because I love to hear the answer to this, and I put you on the spot a little bit. Why did you decide to come on this show today, the What Are You Made Of podcast?
Bro, it's, to me, it's my time now to give back to the world. If you'd have asked me a few years back where I wasn't good, like, from 2008 to 2013, I was broke as a joke, and I was just trying to get out. I couldn't breathe. And I was just too concerned about what my next meal was going to come from. But now, where I'm in a comfortable place, now I want to go tell people about my story, tell how I overcome it. And hopefully, if I can help one person listen to this podcast, change their life and change their perspective. Maybe somebody through this podcast right now is going through a hard time with COVID, with the protests, with everything that's happening. I've done my job. My favorite quote is by Tony Robbins that says, "Success without fulfillment is ultimate failure." And I have success. Now I'm seeking fulfillment.
Love it, man. Love it. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you being on here. And I write down my goals pretty much every single day, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things I break down on it is, because going by yourself sucks. I go to trips to Miami for business sometimes, and my friends can't make it or my wife can't make it because of the kids. And I'm down there and I'm like, this is boring as hell. It's a beautiful Miami. I'm like, I'm bored by myself. I write down every single day, I want to take my homies with me. And because that's important to me, man. And, you're a part of the Waymo crew now because you came onto the show. You're an honorary member. You're one of my homies now. If you ever need anything from me, anything I can do for you, don't ever hesitate to reach out. I'll be just a call away. And, I really appreciate you, brother.
Brother, I appreciate you, Mike. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And that's reciprocal. Anything I can do for you, introduce you, or if you come to Cali, you got to look me up, man. So we can do lunch or dinner.
I will, man. Thank you so much. Guys, you've been listening to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy C-Roc. If you like listening to these, they're all on iTunes and Spotify or your favorite podcast platform. Or you can also go to the YouTube channel, Mike C-Roc Scirocco. This is live streaming there right now, matter of fact, and they will also be up there as well, the post-production part of it. So check it out, subscribe, tell your friends and family. Let's keep this Waymo movement going on the global level. And I appreciate and love all of you.